Ikenga, a respected hunter in his village, was known for his bravery, but when he stumbled upon an ancient curse in the forbidden forest, his life changed forever. Now, he was forced to live among ghosts, unseen by the living, his existence a shadow of his former self. In the heart of the lush African savanna, there was a small village named Wang. This village was known for its rich traditions and vibrant culture. Among the villagers, Ikenga stood out as a brave and skilled hunter. His prowess in the wild had earned him respect and admiration from everyone. He was a tall, strong man with piercing eyes that seemed to see through the dense foliage of the forest. Ikenga lived a peaceful life with his wife, Ada, and their two children, Chidi and Amara. Every morning, he ventured into the forest to hunt, providing for his family and the village. The forest was both a friend and a foe. It offered sustenance, but also harbored unknown dangers. The elders often warned the villagers about the forbidden part of the forest, a place said to be cursed and inhabited by restless spirits. One fateful day, Ikenga's life took an unexpected turn. While chasing a wounded antelope, he found himself deeper in the forest than he had ever been. As he crossed into the forbidden territory, an eerie silence fell around him. The air grew colder and an unsettling feeling washed over him. Little did he know, his life was about to change forever. Ikenga's heart pounded as he ventured deeper into the forbidden forest. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves. Determined to catch the antelope, he pressed on, ignoring the chill creeping up his spine. The deeper he went, the more disoriented he became. He soon realized he was lost. In his desperation, Ikenga stumbled upon an ancient, crumbling shrine hidden among the thick foliage. It was unlike anything he had seen before, adorned with faded symbols and guarded by stone statues with haunting hollow eyes. He felt an inexplicable pull towards the shrine and, against his better judgment, approached it. As he examined the shrine, he accidentally knocked over a small ornate urn. The urn shattered, and a cold, dense fog seeped out, swirling around him. Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled, and a ghostly figure emerged from the fog. It was the spirit of an ancient shaman, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "Who dares disturb my resting place?" the spirit demanded, his voice echoing through the forest. Ikenga, though terrified, tried to explain his presence, but the spirit was enraged. "You have broken the sacred seal and unleashed a curse upon yourself. For your trespass, you will be condemned to live among the ghosts, unseen by the living." Before Ikenga could react, the spirit raised his hand and a blinding light engulfed him. When he opened his eyes, everything had changed. The forest looked the same, but it felt different, as if he was seeing it through a veil. He tried to call out, but his voice echoed back at him, unheard. Ikenga wandered back to the village, hoping to find help, but to his horror, no one could see or hear him. He stood in front of his wife, Ada, and shouted her name, but she continued her chores, oblivious to his presence. He reached out to touch her, but his hand passed through her like a smoke. Panic set in as he realized the full extent of the curse. Days turned into weeks as Ikenga struggled to come to terms with his new reality. He watched helplessly as life in the village went on without him. His children played, his wife grieved his disappearance, and the villagers searched for him in vain. He was a ghost, trapped in a world between the living and the dead. In his solitude, Ikenga encountered other spirits bound by similar curses. They were restless souls, each with their own tale of woe. They taught him the ways of the spirit world, helping him navigate his new existence. Despite their company, Ikenga felt an overwhelming sense of loneliness and despair. Determined to find a way to break the curse, Ikenga sought out the ancient shaman spirit. He learned that the only way to lift the curse was to perform a series of arduous tasks to appease the spirits and restore balance. The path ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but Ikenga knew he had no choice. He had to fight for his freedom and his family, even if it meant facing the darkest corners of the spirit world. Ikenga's resolve hardened as he set out to break the curse. The spirit he met provided him with cryptic clues and guidance. They spoke of 3 tasks that he needed to complete: retrieve the heart of the forest, free the captive souls, and face the guardian of the afterlife. Each task was daunting, but Ikenga was determined. The first task led him to the heart of the forest, a place where the oldest and tallest trees stood. The journey was treacherous, with spirits of the forest testing his courage at every turn. Vines seemed to come alive, attempting to ensnare him, and eerie whispers filled the air, trying to break his spirit. But Ikenga pressed on, driven by the love for his family and the desire to return to them. At the heart of the forest, Ikenga found the ancient tree. It was enormous, its roots sprawling like giant serpents. In the center of the tree was a glowing, pulsating light, the heart of the forest. To retrieve it, Ikenga had to confront the guardian spirit of the tree, a giant spectral snake with emerald eyes. The snake hissed and coiled around the tree, protecting the heart with a fierce determination. "I seek the heart of the forest to lift my curse," Ikenga declared, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at him. The snake's eyes narrowed. "Many have sought the heart, but few have succeeded. You must prove your worth, mortal." With that, the snake lunged at Ikenga. He dodged and fought back with the skills he had honed as a hunter. The battle was intense, but Ikenga's determination and agility kept him one step ahead. Finally, with a swift and precise strike, he managed to pierce the snake's heart. The snake let out a deafening roar before dissolving into a mist, leaving the heart of the forest unguarded. Ikenga carefully approached the glowing light and with great reverence took it into his own hands. The heart was warm and pulsating, filling him with a renewed sense of hope. He knew he had completed the first task. As he made his way back, the forest seemed to acknowledge his victory. The vines receded and the whispers turned into gentle murmurs of approval. The second task was to free the captive souls. The spirits led Ikenga to an ancient burial ground where the souls of the village's ancestors were trapped. The burial ground was a desolate place, shrouded in mist and filled with the sorrowful wails of the trapped souls. The spirits explained that a malevolent entity had imprisoned these souls, feeding off their anguish. Ikenga had to confront this entity, known as the Wraith King. The Wraith King was a fearsome spirit, cloaked in darkness with eyes like burning coals. As Ikenga approached the burial ground, the air grew colder and the wails grew louder. He could feel the despair of the trapped souls and it fueled his determination. Ikenga, you have come far, but you are no match for me. The Wraith King taunted, his voice a chilling whisper. Ikenga stood tall, his eyes blazing with resolve. I will free these souls and end your reign of terror. The battle with the Wraith King was even more daunting than the one with the snake. The Wraith King summoned dark spirits to aid him, and the very ground beneath Ikenga's feet seemed to turn against him. But Ikenga fought with all his might, using both his physical strength and the knowledge he had gained from the spirits. In a desperate move, Ikenga called upon the heart of the forest. The glowing light burst forth, enveloping the Wraith King and his minions. The dark spirits shrieked and dissolved into nothingness, and the Wraith King's form began to waver. No! This cannot be! The Wraith King roared, but it was too late. The heart of the forest's light consumed him, and with a final anguished cry, he vanished. The mist lifted, and the burial ground was bathed in a gentle light. The trapped souls began to ascend, their faces filled with gratitude. Thank you, Ikenga, they whispered as they passed, free at last. Ikenga watched them go, his heart swelling with pride and relief. He had completed the second task. The final task was the most daunting of all, to face the guardian of the afterlife. The spirits guided Ikenga to the edge of the spirit world, where a great chasm separated the living from the dead. Across the chasm was a towering gate, guarded by a figure shrouded in golden light. This was the guardian, a being of immense power and wisdom. Ikenga, you have done well to come this far, the guardian said, his voice resonating with authority. But to lift the curse, you must prove yourself worthy to pass into the afterlife and return. Ikenga nodded, bracing himself for whatever challenge lay ahead. The guardian raised his hand and the ground trembled as a bridge of light extended across the chasm. Cross this bridge, but be warned, it will test your spirit and resolve like never before. As Ikenga stepped onto the bridge, he felt a tremendous weight upon his shoulders. The bridge seemed to stretch endlessly, and with each step, memories of his past flooded his mind. He saw his childhood, his parents, his first hunt, and the day he married Ada. He saw the faces of his children, their smiles and laughter. Each memory was a reminder of what he stood to lose if he failed. Halfway across the bridge, Ikenga was confronted by the spirits of those he had wronged in his life. They accused him of his mistakes, and their words cut deep. You are not worthy, they sneered. You have failed us. Ikenga's heart ached with guilt, but he did not falter. I have made mistakes, but I seek to atone for them, he said, his voice firm. I will not be deterred. With each step, the weight grew heavier, but so did Ikenga's determination. He reached the other side, exhausted but resolute. The guardian awaited him, his expression of one approval. You have faced your past and proven your worth, the guardian said. But there is one final trial. The guardian raised his hand again, and a portal opened, showing Ikenga's village. He saw Ada and his children, their faces etched with sorrow. To break the curse, you must let go of your fear, and embrace your destiny. Are you ready, Ikenga? Ikenga took a deep breath and nodded. I am ready. The guardian smiled and touched Ikenga's forehead. A surge of energy coursed through him, and he felt himself being lifted. The portal expanded, enveloping him in a warm, blinding light. When the light faded, Ikenga found himself standing in the village square, surrounded by his family and friends. Ada! Chidi! Amara! He cried, tears streaming down his face. He reached out, and this time, his hands did not pass through them. They were real, solid, and warm. Ikenga! You've returned! Ada exclaimed, embracing him tightly. The villagers gathered around, cheering and celebrating his return. Ikenga's heart swelled with joy and relief. He had done it. He had broken the curse. In the days that followed, Ikenga shared his story with the village. He spoke of the task he had completed and the spirits he had encountered. The villagers listened in awe, and the elders praised him for his bravery and perseverance. Ikenga's return brought a renewed sense of hope and unity to the village. The Forbidden Forest was no longer a place of fear, but one of reverence. The villagers honored the spirits and the ancient traditions, knowing that the balance between the living and the dead must be respected. Ikenga resumed his role as a hunter, but he was no longer just a provider. He was a guardian of the village's heritage, a bridge between the living and the spirit world. His experiences had changed him, making him wiser and more compassionate. One evening, as the sun set over the savannah, Ikenga sat with his family, watching the sky turn shades of orange and pink. He held Ada's hand and smiled at his children playing nearby. He had faced the ghosts, conquered his fears, and returned stronger than ever. His journey had been long and arduous, but it had led him back to where he belonged, among the living, surrounded by love. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Ikenga whispered a silent prayer of gratitude to the spirits who had guided him. He knew that his story would be told for generations, a testament to the power of courage, love, and the unbreakable bond between the living and the spirit world. The end.